You don't have to be super fit. You might not have run years or might not have run ever, but you can still come along and just have a bit of a go.
Welcome back, everyone, to Cyber Voices, the official podcast of the Australian Information Security Association, but you probably know us as AISA. I'm your host, as always, David Savva-Willett, and it is my pleasure to bring you the diverse voices and thought leadership of the Australian cyber community. Now, today's episode is a little bit different. Yes, my guest works in cybersecurity, but we're not really here to talk about breach containment or zero trust architecture. We're here to talk about something arguably more important, and that is the people behind the security industry and what it actually takes to show up and do this job sustainably. So, my guest today is Chris Stannage, a Scottish-born, Melbourne-based senior account executive at Illumio. He's been in Australia for over 11 years, and before that, he came through the world of competitive rugby, a background that gave him a team-first, high-performance mindset that clearly never left him. But what I really want to talk to Chris about today is something he built outside of his day job, which is the Cyber Run Club. Now, if you are connected or affiliated with Chris in any way on LinkedIn, or anyone who has joined the Run Club, you would have seen it and probably been wondering, what's going on there? So the Run Club is a regular gathering at the Tan here in beautiful Melbourne that brings cyber professionals together for movement, fresh air, and honest conversation with zero pressure and zero agenda. Chris, welcome to Cyber Voices.
Thanks for having me.
So, Run Club, that's it's very, the Run Clubs are not a unique thing, but a cyber Run Club is an incredibly unique thing.
Feels like a bit of an oxymoron, really.
Well, yeah. And I guess that's something that we want to unpack with you today, because I've known you sort of through the cybercons and through LinkedIn and all that for quite some time. But when I saw the Cyber Run Club, I was like, wow, okay, that's actually really, really interesting. So let's start at the beginning. So Cyber Run Club, it feels like one of those ideas that seems really, really simple, but clearly came from somewhere quite real. What was the moment that made you think that this is something that we need in Melbourne?
It started about 18 months ago, and it came out of a lunch. I'd invited a good friend of mine and CISO of Influx, George Abraham, to lunch, and we sat down, and when he arrived, I said, look, George, I'm not having a beer today. I'm training for a High Rocks event. But feel free to have a glass of wine.
Of course it was High Rocks.
Of course it was. Yeah. Did I mention I did High Rocks? Yeah. And he's like, no, I'm training for a half marathon. And the first half of lunch was really just talking health and fitness. He used to do CrossFit. I used to play rugby. And we were really just talking about health. And we really kind of only got down to business towards the latter half of the meal. And when I was walking back to the office, I thought, I think there's something in this. And I phoned him up the next day and I said, I think that there's a gap here where every cybersecurity networking event or a round table is all like, you have a big meal, you have a few glasses of wine, you get on the beers and you network, which has its place, but there's really nowhere for people that work in cybersecurity to connect with more of a health-focused mindset. So I asked if he wanted to get on board with it, and I thought, let's do a run club. It should be easy to organize, a sort of low barrier to entry to people to attend, and just give people an opportunity to unwind at the end of a day when we work in a particularly stressful industry.
Yeah, and I like that point you made around how we like to go out. We like to go out for a drink in cyber, right? You go to any event, like the networking of drinks is what everyone want to get themselves to at the end of the day. For some people, that can be it can be a little taxing, right? Everyone kind of socializes different. Everyone's socials battery is a little bit different. So I can imagine your Run Club it's something just outside of that. It's probably actually even a little bit more of a healthier coping mechanism. Yeah.
Sometimes when you have a stressful day, I suppose the societal instinct is you grab a beer, you have a glass of wine, and sometimes the brain needs a little bit of a reset on that, to just instinctively go, I'm going to put the runner shoes on, and whether you go for a run or you just go for a walk, do something to get yourself moving. It's widely known that is much better for you than having a beer. Mm-hmm. So just having something that's a bit more health-centric that you then start to associate with, I suppose, the end of a tough day, that you go, I'm going to feel better at the end of this. And I always say it, whenever you come to Run Club, you're going to feel better at the end than you did at the start. And part of that's Anderson Hill, but part of that is that there is so much that comes from just going a light jog, the endorphins, the mental feeling, the stimulation of having a conversation. So yeah, it's almost just sort of changing the thought process of like, oh, I've had a stressful day. I'm under pressure this week, this month. I'm going to do something active. And it's, again, as we say, like, it's not to completely eliminate going out for a glass of wine and having a beer occasionally, but it's just sort of building healthier habits and having something that is a bit of an anchor, whether it's every month, every week, that you kind of commit to going to, the discipline around it. You start to build these healthier habits. And that's, again, another reason that we set it up as a platform of like, build it and people will hopefully come.
It's only once a month, right?
Only once a month.
One Thursday a month, which is a pretty low stakes commitment, I think, for a lot of people.
Very low stakes. And anyone who does know the TAN, it's just shy of 4 kilometers. So like, for those that are high performance, can get around in a few minutes. For those that walk, 40 minute stops. So it's you're not chewing into a huge amount of your evening, missing out time with the family, the kids, the dogs. It's a short sort of reset at the end of a day where it's easy for 5 p.m. to come and go. Like, you're working really hard, you get deadlines to meet, and next thing it's 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the evening. But if you have something that kind of forces you to close the laptop, go out, even if you do go back to work later on, your mindset's going to be a little bit better. So yeah, it's 20 minutes, 40 minutes of a Thursday once a month. It's not a huge investment overall.
What's attendance been like?
So we usually get about 20 a month. And in that we'll have 7 or 8 diehard regulars. We get the people that are going to show up every single month. Then we'll have 5 or 6 frequent attenders. They'll be there every couple of months, every 3 months. And honestly, every month we get new people coming. And it's great. People who have either seen us on LinkedIn, because you know me, I'm very on LinkedIn, or we actually, one of our regulars, Greg, he presented at Monash University, and their student security club, a few of the people from that came along. And I suppose we'll talk about it, the fact that it's inclusive. You don't have to be a cyber practitioner to come along. You could be a student or even have a passing interest. So we do get usually a couple of people every single month who have never been there before, and hopefully that becomes part of their routine and their habits.
And I think even if you just show up and do it once, probably goes a long way to just, you know, if you're just having a bad month that time and just like, hey, I'm just going to go for a run and...
you know it's there. Yeah. You know it's going to be there the last Thursday of the month. We're going to be at the TAN. And if you want to just come along, you don't have to speak. You can just come along and then leave at the end. But it's a good crew of people, and yeah, no one's that scary.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you say as well that it's pressure-free. What does that actually mean in practice? I was almost going to say, you know, what are the rules of Fight Club, but what are the rules of Run Club?
And I think it probably ties back into your networking events, your roundtable lunches. Like in cyber, there's always an ulterior motive to some extent. I work in sales, and it's in my business card, it's in my title. There's no ambiguity about what I do day to day. But when we go to these sorts of events and when we go to Run Club, we try to keep an ethos that there is no solicitation, there is no selling allowed. And part of that is how inclusive we make it. So we have chief security officers, we have analysts, we have engineers, we have vendors who sell the technology, we have recruiters who help place people in the roles, we have students, we have people with passing interests, we have resellers. It's not about the companies you work for. It's not about the organizations you're part of. It's really just about being part of an industry that we all work in. We all have our own stresses and pressures. We all contribute to the success of the industry, because ultimately, as a security practitioner, you need the people, the process, the technology, and we might only represent part of that, but everyone plays a really important role. So to be able to show up and not have to have someone in your ear about the latest and greatest solution, or the services that their company are the best in breed at, it's really there just to chat. And if someone asks you, like, oh, hey, what do you do? What's Illumio all about? Or what does this company do? Then absolutely, I'll tell you about it. And if you want to know more, great, we'll catch up for coffee another time. But the whole point is to kind of share experience, share knowledge, or even if you don't want to talk about cyber, don't talk about it. One of my favorite examples, it might have been one of the first couple of Run Clubs we did. I just happened to be jogging with the CISO of one of our healthcare organizations here in Melbourne, and there was a security analyst alongside me, and he was talking about containerized security. and the CISO was just giving him little bits of advice that he's came across and recommended a podcast that he'd been listening to. And I'm like, how awesome that I've kind of inadvertently cultivated a situation where a relatively low-level analyst can pick the brain of a CISO of a completely different organization in a very non-threatening, organic way. And that might have really helped this guy solve a problem. But more importantly, they've built a connection with someone who's, in their way, also open to networking and connecting. And I think that's a really cool thing to be able to kind of harbor, is that sort of environment.
I love the sales-free element of it. We also do get relentlessly sold to sometimes. And it feels like you can't do anything, even something that's set up as a round table or a networking event, without it being like, and here comes the sales pitch.
And that's it. Like, I think there's definitely going to be those preconceived ideas about salespeople as well. And we get it. Like, if you meet someone again at an event,
it's the job.
It's like, oh, I'm a CISO. Oh, salesperson. Oh, right. Okay. What's next? And I think one of the reasons that George and I have become good friends is we started off as a professional relationship, and we built a lot of trust in us working together. And it's the fact that we can bounce ideas off each other. And if I want to tell him about something that's interesting that's happening in my world, I'm going to do it on his level. I'm not going to be like overly pushing it to him. It's like, hey mate, I find this really interesting. I want to share it with you. And in the same way, if he's sort of trying to brainstorm his own career developments, and maybe I can help him connect with other CISOs that, hey, it's all in the network. As you say, it's a community. I mean, we're building a community with the Run Club, but cybersecurity in itself is a very well-connected place. But sometimes people don't know how to use those connections. So it's how do you bring that together, and someone here might know someone over there, and it really helps kind of bring everyone up. Like that whole like rising tide raises all boats type situation. If everyone is sort of progressing and doing better, then selfless helping.
Any other kind of successful connections you've seen being made as a result of Run Club?
Yeah, I definitely won't call out specifics, but I absolutely know of an organization who's ended up using like pen testing services of one of the group. And it has come off the back of just like, hey, I'm as a security leader or a security person, like I know we're going to be doing these things anyway at some stage. And this person's pretty cool to chat to, and I want to really get to know what they do and how they do it. And it ends up business come off the back of that. And it's absolutely not happened at the time. It's came as a result of people forming real connections, and it's so hard to do. I mean, even more in a remote world where I would say 80% of our meetings are over Zoom, a lot of it's disconnected, and just having those human connections and having the opportunity to have them, it gives us the opportunity to try and solve problems in new creative ways, because you can actually talk about them rather than, I suppose, a blanket, I am solving this problem, I need this solution.
Yeah.
So yeah, just having the opportunity for people to meet and understand what each other do has resulted in sales being made. Not for me yet. It may happen eventually, but but yeah, at the moment it's really been community minded. But yeah, I've seen that sort of things happen. I've just seen, I suppose, going back to the fact that Greg, one of our frequent members, has gone off to speak at Monash Security's student clubs, and people pulling in members from there. I think it's just a really cool thing where we are engaging on all levels. It's not just trying to rope in every senior person we possibly can. It's like, hey, the people that are going to be the security practitioners in a year or two's time, and the CISOs in 20 years' time, like they're gonna use these opportunities and hopefully maintain and cultivate their own networks.
I work at a university, and I talk to a lot of students about the need to sort of get out there and network to help build their career, help build a profile for themselves, because I don't want to say our industry is not a what you know, but who you know industry, but it is a very, especially here in Australia, very community focused.
Definitely.
You look at everything from what we do with our AISA events to what you're doing here, and just across the board, you see we're always doing something to try and bring people together to collaborate and learn from each other. I can't even believe I haven't thought of it before, but the next time I talk to a student, this would actually be a great thing to say, like, well, actually, you look pretty fit. Do you want to run?
or not pretty fit. And I think that's also something that I suppose I'd like to make sure isn't a preconceived idea. You don't have to be an elite fitness junkie or a professional athlete to come along. Like I will run at around a 6-minute kilometer pace, which is fast for some, slow for others. But if you don't want to run at that pace, you run slower. The whole point is that you can run, have a conversation with the people around you. We usually have people walking. So we have people that will walk around the town, and no matter what, there will be people waiting at the end. So someone might sprint off ahead, but stay at the end, because the whole point is that we can stand and chat as a community. So you don't have to be super fit. You might not have run years or might not have run ever, but you can still come along and just have a bit of a go.
Yeah, would you call that 6 kilometer a minute? Is that like the talking pace? Like you can run.
That's my talking pace. Yeah,
that's okay. Yeah.
Not everyone's, but it's definitely mine.
Yeah.
I suppose actually an earlier question, something that I was really proud of from a story perspective. I remember someone had come up to me after and says, "I haven't run 4 kilometers in 10 years," and I thought, to some people that is an incredible milestone. It doesn't have to be I've done a marathon. It doesn't have to be I've done an Ironman. Sometimes it's just I've done something I haven't pushed myself to do in a long time. That was actually something I'd forgotten, I was really proud of.
Yeah, and it's been the appeal of joining for me. Now, quite frankly, I have not been yet.
Why not, David? Why have you not been yet?
I can remember, like, even in the early days, I would like your post on LinkedIn and I'd get a text from you straight away. You coming? Like you were forever the salesman in that regard. But what you said then rings true to me, because one of the reasons why every month when it comes up, I really want to go is because, I used to be able to run a half marathon when I was in like my early 30s. And I'm in that mindset now that I'm in my early 40s and maybe it's all over for me, but it doesn't need to be that way anymore. But and I keep thinking, if I could just get along to this one Thursday, anytime soon, which is coming, it would be just a good way just to get back into it. And, you get a little bit of FOMO when you post your selfie on LinkedIn at the end of every run club. Everyone's always smiling, having a good time. And it's always a solid group of people in terms of just the numbers, right? Like, I think you even said, even one day the heavens opened up and you still had a few of you there. Like,
we've it's funny, like we've always been blessed with weather apart from 2 run clubs. We've done this for 18 months now, and the 2 that we struggled with was last month. We got a bit of a downpour and we still had 5 or 6 people came along, and the other one was last 2 years ago at AISA. We do one the morning.
You did the CyberCon one, didn't
you? The morning of CyberCon, and it just was torrential rain, and there was people who'd come interstate and they were like, well, we're coming anyway. So no matter what, we go out, we run in the rain, and we still make it happen. We still get people down. It's any of the weather.
Now I want to pivot into the other side of this. You've talked about community networking and the connections that have been made, and just the pressure-free, no sales environment. All of that is incredible on its own. But one of the real conversations, and I know this from talking to you off the pod, is mental health. There is a rising mental health problem in our industry, which I think it's talked about, but probably not talked about as enough as it could be. There's on-call pressure. I know in my world that even when I went overseas with my partner, that like, geez, what if the incident happened? Like, I'd be called, and that kind of puts a lot of responsibility when it comes to, we are just everyday people, but we have that responsibility of protecting people's data, their livelihoods. So, have you seen Run Club become a space where people can actually open up? And what would you say to someone listening or watching right now, who is struggling, maybe not knowing who to talk to, or feeling like admitting that, hey, I'm not okay, and maybe that's a sign of weakness?
Yeah, I like tons to unpack on that one. I think first and foremost, talking is absolutely the first thing I'd always recommend. I've definitely been guilty in the past of trying to go the stoic path where it's, I'm all fine, and you just kind of bed down things that are building up and the pressure that you have. But finding a way to release that, and whether that is coming to Run Club and just having a bit of a bitch about your day, like sometimes that in itself can help. Like you start to realize that the problems that are like right in front of your face, when you actually sort of express them out there, like, you know what, it's maybe not that bad. Like when you're traveling on a holiday, it's like, what if I get that phone call? And you say to your partner, I say to me, I was like, what if they call me? And I'm like, well, what if they don't? Like, there's no sense in worrying about that sort of thing. But I think really being able to speak about things, and if that's from a community or your close friends, or even stepping into the world of therapy, it's something that I cannot encourage enough, because you start to reframe the problems in your mind, and you start to recognize that the problem itself isn't going to change. Like, it's how you perceive it is. And yeah, in this day and age where information is coming at us at a more accelerated rate, risk is changing at an accelerated rate, businesses are putting more and more pressure on humans and individuals because they're reducing it, and people are maybe worried about their jobs because AI is coming. So it's like the pressures are always going to be there. How you deal with them mentally is what everyone needs to focus on moving forwards, because dwelling on it isn't going to help. Suppressing it is definitely not going to help, but having some form of a release will. And that might be exercise. That's a really good place to start, because scientifically, the endorphins, the happy chemicals, everything will make you feel better. But addressing the root cause, which starts from talking about problems, that's something I could always recommend. Whether it's friends, whether it's therapy, whether it's strangers or communities, just being able to actually express that is the biggest step in definitely not curing it, but helping it. Be as proactive as you can be. Don't try not to wait until you are in a really dark place. Like when you're starting to feel stress and pressure, and the days, the weeks, the months are getting to you, use that as the signal to start to reach out. Because I suppose, like anything, like bad news doesn't get better with time. Pressure will continue to mount. Try to address it early. Call foul early. Put your hand up and say, I need some help. And I think, particularly in this day and age, there are so many people that if you just say it, people are going to run to your side. And that's, very, very crucial.
And, addressing mental health in any capacity, not just in cyber, but, we are particularly talking about our colleagues in the industry right now. There are, and you kind of hit the nail on the head, there are so many different ways in which you can approach this. I personally meditate. And meditation is a 10 to 20 minute exercise I do on a daily basis, and it just gives my brain an opportunity to quieten down, or also just be as noisy as it wants to be for that time. I know when I was really into running, I found running to be quite meditative as well. And I think if you talk to anyone who's a runner, most of them will tell you that running is my meditation.
Big time.
And whilst talking about it can help, it can be hard for some people as well. So if you're just struggling with something and you're internalizing something a lot, getting on down to something like Run Club, and just getting to see that, like, hey, there's other people who are probably in the same boat as me, or not even having that conversation, just getting there and just being with other people, and getting that rush of endorphins from running around the tan,
definitely
is incredible. And it sounds like the tan is really doing a lot of heavy lifting here for the Run Club. It's connecting people. It's helping boost people's mental health.
It definitely is.
How long has Run Club been going for now? Sorry,
it's about 18 months now.
18 months. Yep.
Yeah, I think about a year and a half. Yep.
That's impressive in and itself, right? Because how many times have we seen people sort of try to start a little group or a club like this, and they meet once or twice, and then it all kind of tails off?
It's funny you say that, because every few months I'll have someone reach out to me from another state and go, can we start a chapter of this in Perth, or start a chapter of this in Sydney? And my response to it is always yes. It's a great idea, but please do it with the ethos in mind, because it's not about the company you work for. Yes, by proxy, you're going to build some of your own personal brand and your company's brand, but ultimately it's about the community. It's a sales-free environment. It's there to bring people together, and please just do it with consistency, because it's so easy to go on LinkedIn, we're doing a Run Club, my company X is sponsoring it, we're going to give you free sports drinks and stuff, and that's fine. But it's just about having that consistency and showing up every month, and just having the platform for people to show up. Because 18 months we've been doing this. I've missed 2. George, I think, has missed 1, so I think he's got 1 up on me there.
That's in 18 months. You've only missed 2, whereas I've not been able to get along to 1 in 18 months. So
I think I was overseas for them, and we tried to maintain. We'll always do it the last Thursday of the month. So we didn't change the date for me, and similarly George was on holiday. But we try and keep it consistent, because, as I say, we've said it. If we show up at the tan and it's just the 2 of us, we're still going to go for a run. And we've been really fortunate that every single time we've said that, there's always been people come along with us. But we also want that platform to be there. We'd hate for it to be next Thursday night and someone comes along for the very, very first time and they're left alone. So we want to make sure that no matter what, there's someone there to run around with you. So we try and maintain that consistency as best we can.
And that's a challenge in on itself, because you're genuinely trying to do something for the betterment of the community and for other people. But it's like anything. I think of what AISA does, and that's built on the back of volunteers. Without the volunteers and the people who are willing to give up their personal time, and this may be an hour, up to an hour a month, but that's still that can be hard sometimes, especially on a Thursday. You get to the end of that week. And honestly, that's probably something that stopped me from coming from. Sometimes I'll be like, I'm doing it this month, and then it gets to the end of the week, and like, oh my god, I need to go home and open the bottle of wine. Which I know, which probably would have been the better choice, would have been to come to Run Club.
Yeah, it's funny when you look at that whole sort of discipline versus motivation, and it's sometimes just having that anchor to be like, I have to do this. I am put it in my diary. I'm committing to this, and I suppose it's. Like goes back to that mental health thing. It's like what is sacrificing for me to do this? Because you're looking after yourself, you're looking after your physical and mental health. Because it's easily one of the first things that suffer. Because when you're crazy busy and you're working long hours, it's like, I'm going to skip the gym today, or I'm going to skip the run today. But sometimes those are the things that will actually make a bigger difference to your day to day, because you're mentally a bit sharper, you're physically feeling better, the quality of work will improve. So just having that anchor to go, you know what, I'm actually going to close the laptop at 5 o'clock today. I'm going to head over to the tan. I'm going to go for a run with the Run Club. And then you might think that, you know what, this work can be done tomorrow morning. And you feel a little bit better. And then you can open the wine because you've earned it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think as well, something I want to say to our listeners and viewers, the topic of mental health is very real. Chris and I are not experts or professionals in this space by any stretches of the imagination, although what Chris is doing is a fantastic initiative to support people's mental health and connection within cybersecurity. But if you yourself are struggling with anything in this space, please consider our advice fairly general in nature, and we will pop some resources into the show notes if you need them. Back to you now. So, running club, high rocks, rugby. It'd be natural to say you're into your sport, and you even mentioned at the beginning you've played competitive rugby. Was that back in Scotland?
Scotland and here, yeah.
Scotland and here.
I only stopped a couple of years ago. The body started to give up a little bit.
Yeah. And I noticed you specifically mentioned in your bio that you sent me that you are Scottish, because I remember when we first met, I thought you were Irish. So, but yeah, rugby is about as team orientated as it gets. Do you draw a line between that world and what you do now, both in cyber and in the rug club? What did that sporting background teach you about high performance environments and looking after the people around you?
Yeah, so I think there's so many parallels between sport, business, cyber. I do feel that the underlying principles that you're taught playing any team sports can carry people really well into life. I think the disciplines associated, that you're showing up consistently week after week, month after month, with a shared common goal as well. Like when you're playing rugby, you're 15 players on the pitch, you're 7 players on the bench, you've got your coaching staff, with a very similar outcome. And the outcome is going to be the very end of the season that you're top of the table. But you're not going to get there match one. So your first outcome is the first thing you need to do, which is sort of train, prepare, get ready to play. Then it's understanding your opposition, understanding how you're going to beat them, how you're going to win that first game. The parallels to that in cyber are almost blatant. It's like you're working as a team for a common goal. It's not about you as the CISO. It's about your architecture team, your engineering team, your analysts, your partners, your vendors, everyone that's part of that team. Understanding your opposition is understanding what you're trying to prevent from happening, understanding how you're going to prevent it, what they're going to do next, or predicting what might happen. So it's always just about sort of making sure that everyone has that shared common goal and are communicated on what their roles are within that goal. Because for me personally, like I'm the sales guy. I'm not going to try and run a technical presentation. So it's me and my team coming together to make sure that we understand what we're trying to achieve, how we're trying to achieve it, what happens next. And I think that's really important. It's, I suppose, the internal communication of shared outcomes, the discipline to kind of keep sort of true to the path. Like things are going to go wrong. Like it's natural in life, and that's business, that's cyber, that's sports. So it's how do you learn from those things? Like you get a near miss for a malware infection. It's okay. what led to that event? How can we make sure it doesn't happen again? How do we make sure we're more robust moving forward? So there are so many parallels there, and in sales as well. Like we don't win every deal. We might lose to a competitor. The organization might do nothing, but really just being able to reflect on it and go like, what did we miss? Was there something in our preparation, in our execution? Was there something underlying that we just didn't understand about the project that we perhaps should have been aware of from the very, very start? So I think from playing sport from a very early age, it's bigger than yourself. It's understanding that you can't do things alone, that you need to have the team around you to get to that outcome. And even when you think individual sports like tennis, like Sabalenka isn't just winning tennis because she's the best tennis player. It's the team around her doing the analysis, the strategy, the planning, the training, the conditioning, the nutrition. So yeah, I think everything when you look at it is a team sport, and it's working together to get to those common outcomes.
And not to mention the fact that sporting analogies are the most common thing used, I think, in any my corporate meeting. Or
Dave Shepherd, my boss, who's actually, he really encouraged me to be creative, and Run Club was something I floated to him originally. And I was like, I'm thinking of doing this. He's like, do it weekly. I was like, let's park expectations. But he loves the sporting analogies. And you're right, they come up all too often in life and in business. And it's because it's true. It all makes sense.
I certainly know that. So I didn't grow up a very sort of like athletic, sporty kid. I was super nerdy, always playing video games and reading books.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I met my now husband, who is like absolute sports mad, that I finally was like, oh my God, now I get these analogies and I can start using them with some confidence, because I'm pretty sure he heard me using some sporting analogies in work meetings when we first met each other and said, that was the wrong context for that.
Wrong sport, wrong shaped ball.
Yeah. From the world of competitive rugby to cybersecurity, where did that pivot? I normally ask this at the beginning of the interview, actually, but how did your cybersecurity career begin?
So the no wrong paths in careers is the funny one. So I have a degree in microbiology.
It's different. Usually people say marketing.
So I had a degree in microbiology, and I love science. I'm really passionate about it. I find it incredible. But doing my lab research in uni, I just couldn't stand being in a lab for 8 hours a day. Again, I'm too sociable. I need to be out there in front of people. And through one way or another, I think I established that I wanted to get into pharmaceutical sales at the time. So I thought I can take my scientific background, but be people facing. When I first emigrated to Australia, I was doing everything I possibly could to get into pharma. Just getting knocked back in the visa. No one would pick me up. And eventually through networking, I kind of stumbled upon a guy, Pete Noblet, who gave me a nudge towards recruitment, because at the time it was really good to get people from the UK, get sponsored, people that work hard and get into recruitment. And I worked there for a little while, and I did it in IT. And that was a sort of a culture fit decision by the business, and they were right. I fitted in really well with that team. I had great leadership, but in doing so, I got a bit of a bug for tech. I kind of parked the idea of going into pharmaceuticals and thought, well, when I eventually get full visa in Australia, I think I want to get into tech sales, because I really like the idea of solving problems from the perspective of tech. I get to go in there and present on software, services, solutions. Wasn't sure what at the time. So when I got residency in Australia, I started looking at moving into tech sales. And again, a friend of mine who I used to work with in recruitment said, oh, there's this opportunity in cyber. Would you be interested? And I said, I don't know anything about cyber, but I'll give it a crack. And a few interviews later, I got hired into Darktrace at the time, and was working there. And my personal philosophy is I hate not understanding things. So I just spent a lot of time just grafting the industry, like watching YouTube videos, understanding what's going on, so that when I go into conversations, I'm not technical, but I get problem solving. So asking questions, understanding pain points, and just kind of figuring it all out from there. So that was about 7 years ago. And I've just loved being in cyber, because in that 7 years, I mean, as you know, it's just constantly changing. It's very exciting. The news stories are dramatic and chaotic and everyone's fearful, but behind the scenes, there's like this underlying composure of problem solving and just keeping the lights on and keeping things operational. And it's quite cool just to be a part of that, because like security will be different next week and next month and next year. So
tomorrow,
yeah, when I leave here in an hour.
Yeah. So what's next for you? What's next for you personally? What's next for Run Club?
Oh, so personally, my partner and I are getting married in Italy in July.
I'm so jealous.
Very, very excited.
Well, everyone, I've spoken to Chris about this already, and I love everything about what he's planning for his wedding. But anyway, sorry.
So excited, yeah. Leaving Melbourne in July in the middle of winter, I'm naturally devastated by, but I'll send you pictures from Tuscany.
I'm sure they'll be on LinkedIn.
They might be. Yeah. How can a wedding in Tuscany teach me about B2B sales?
I put photos of my wedding on LinkedIn.
You did.
Yeah, it was more just I think. Sorry, this is a slight tangent. I think it's okay to share a life update on LinkedIn.
I think so.
Because that makes LinkedIn a bit more real for me.
More human.
Yeah, I think that's why I love seeing Cyber Run Club on LinkedIn, because it is real, because it isn't that this is what this natural disaster taught me about B2B sales. It's not another AI written thought leadership article. It's like, hey guys, we don't actually have to we can connect with each other genuinely on this platform. No. Sorry, anyway.
So I might put it on LinkedIn later off that.
Yeah.
But for Cyber Run Club, look, it's the last Thursday of every month. And I think come down, just try it. If you walk, you run, you jog, you meet someone new, you meet someone you've not seen in a little while, it's a great thing to do. And I highly encourage it. And I'll be waiting there on the tan, rain, hail or shine, to say hello.
Excellent. And do you think will it continue in just the way that it is? Do you see anything different for it in the future?
I'd love to see it grow. I mean, we're averaging around 20 people a month. If we start to grow a bit bigger than that, then I'd love to do some sort of community events. If the Melbourne Marathon Festival's coming up, enter a group as hey, we're doing a half marathon, but maybe for a charity. So maybe some charity alignment, maybe some actual events, maybe some more socials, just to get people together to kind of balance out the health with something unhealthy. But
well, you see that with personal training groups and stuff like that. They enter in City to Surf in Sydney and all that kind of stuff. There's absolutely no reason why Cyber Run Club couldn't do the same.
100%, yeah.
Get your logo made up, everyone get matching singlets, it'll be great.
Get AI to make the logo. No, actually, no, graphic designers. We'll get humans.
Exactly, we'll get humans to make it.
Humans to make the logo, and
And there is a LinkedIn group where you post.
There is a LinkedIn group. We predominantly just post on LinkedIn in general. If you want, and it's something that we're sort of testing the waters with, if you want a calendar invite, we can send one just so that it's marked in the diary. But keep an eye out for LinkedIn. There is a LinkedIn group, #CyberRunClub, the usual sort of thing. But we're trying to work out a better way to make people aware of it, because I think that's probably part of the problem is people don't quite see it until it's too late, or they're just not on LinkedIn every day like we are. So any ideas, any suggestions, hit me up, because I would love to find a way to make this more consistent and grow.
Chris, this has actually been a conversation I've been really, really looking forward to having. I've been texting you since the start of the year going, when are we going to get you on the pod to talk about Run Club? When are we going to get you on to talk about Run Club? And I think anyone who's listening or watching who has ever felt the weight of the industry, getting a little bit too much at times, I think, what you've shared today could go a long way to helping just relieve some of that. And, it can't hurt to head down and give Cyber Run Club a try. Chris, it's been really, really fun to chat to you. Thank you so much for sharing your voice with us today.
Thank you very much, David.